Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something really fundamental but maybe overlooked. It's the connection, that deep link between what you eat and, well, how healthy your hair looks and feels. Our goal here is to get you past those quick fixes, the surface stuff, and really understand the true nutritional bedrock for great hair.
Yeah, absolutely. Because hair health, fundamentally, it's an inside-out deal. What you see on your head is pretty much a mirror of what's happening inside your body. It really comes down to nourishing the hair follicle, the scalp, from within.
Okay, and here's something that really made me pause.
Yeah.
The body sees hair as, non-essential, for survival anyway. So if you're under nutritional stress, maybe not eating right or ill, your body literally diverts resources away from hair growth to support vital organs.
That's exactly it. It makes sense from a survival standpoint.
Wow. So things like thinning or shedding could actually be a sign your body's prioritizing other things. A bit of a red flag, maybe.
Precisely. And remember, each hair is mostly protein, keratin specifically. So having the right nutrients available consistently through that whole growth cycle, it's just paramount.
Okay, let's unpack that. Nutrients. Starting with the big ones, the macronutrients. Protein, you mentioned keratin. That means amino acids from our diet are the building blocks, right? So things like lean meats, fish, eggs, beans, lentils, even quinoa.
Spot on. High-quality sources are key. And, speaking of things often linked to hair, we need to talk about the biotin paradox. Vitamin B7, biotin, it's marketed everywhere for hair. But the science, it just doesn't back it up for most people. It really only helps if you have a diagnosed biotin deficiency, and honestly, that's quite rare.
Right. So let me get this straight for everyone listening. All those biotin gummies and pills.
Yeah.
If you're generally healthy, taking extra biotin is basically
not going to do much for your hair. Your body just gets rid of the excess.
That's bits of pee then.
You could say that. It's a prime example of marketing hype getting way ahead of the actual science.
Good to know. A really crucial point. Okay, so protein builds it. What about keeping the scalp healthy, the hair shiny? Healthy fats must come in here, like omega-3s.
Yes, definitely. Omega-3s are fantastic. They help with scalp moisture, give hair shine, and they're anti-inflammatory, which is great for the scalp environment. And it's usually better to go for sources like fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, because the omega-3s there are more readily usable by the body compared to, say, flax seeds alone.
Makes sense. Direct benefit. Now, carbs. People sometimes cut carbs drastically. Does that impact hair?
It certainly can. Hair follicles need energy to grow, and carbs are the main fuel source. Severely restricting them can potentially lead to less energy for hair growth, maybe even thinning over time.
Okay, so macros covered. Protein, fats, carbs. Balanced approach. What about the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals? Where should we focus?
Iron is a big one, really critical. It helps carry oxygen to the hair follicles. Iron deficiency is actually a surprisingly common reason for hair loss, especially in women. Often gets missed.
That's a key takeaway. And a little tip for you listening. Plant-based iron, the non-hammed kind you get from spinach or lentils, isn't absorbed as easily as iron from meat. But pairing it with vitamin C, like having peppers with your lentils or an orange after, really boosts that absorption.
Good tip. Then there's zinc, essential for cell growth, keeping those oil glands around the follicles working properly. But here's a warning. Too much zinc can backfire. It can actually cause hair loss and mess with other minerals like copper. So balance, again, is absolutely vital. Don't overdo supplements.
Wow. Okay. Another delicate balance. And vitamin A.
Yeah.
Similar story.
Sort of, yeah. Vitamin A is needed for cell growth and making sebum, the natural oil that moisturizes the scalp. Too little means dry, brittle hair. But, and this is important, too much vitamin A, hypervitaminosis A, often from supplements, can also trigger hair loss. Fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. It shows how finely tuned our bodies are.
And briefly, vitamin C. We mentioned it for iron absorption, but it's also an antioxidant and helps build collagen, which adds strength to the hair shaft itself.
All right, so we know what nutrients to aim for. What about the flip side? What should we actively try to avoid?
Well, the usual suspects, really. Highly processed foods, lots of refined sugar, they're not doing your hair any favors. They can contribute to things like insulin resistance, maybe increase certain hormones like DHT, which is linked to pattern baldness, and just generally promote inflammation. None of that is good for follicles.
And connecting back to what you said about stress, what about extreme dieting or really rapid weight loss?
Yeah, that can definitely trigger significant hair shedding. It's called telogen effluvium. Basically, the body perceives that rapid change or restriction as a major stress, so it shifts hair follicles into the resting phase prematurely. And then weeks or months later, you see a lot of shedding. It's the body conserving resources again.
It all comes back to that internal state, doesn't it? This really drives home that the best approach is a whole foods philosophy. Balanced, sustainable eating. So wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway for you listening? It seems clear it's about looking at the big picture, that holistic view. A balanced, nutrient-rich diet based on whole foods seems like the most powerful and definitely the most sustainable strategy for healthy, vital hair.
Exactly. Genetics and hormones obviously play their part. We can't ignore that. But your diet, that's a lever you can control. It's an actionable tool for supporting your hair's vitality. Don't underestimate it.
So maybe just consider that for a moment. The simple act of nourishing yourself day to day and how profoundly it connects to something like the vitality of your hair makes you wonder what other maybe non-essential parts of our well-being are quietly telling us important stories about our overall health. And of course, if you are experiencing significant hair changes, it's always best to check in with a healthcare professional or a registered dietitian to get personalized advice and rule out any underlying issues.